Testing. Welcome back to Barney Music. My name is Barney. I'm a classical composer and founder and director of Barney Music. My fellow subscribers and anyone who's new to the channel, I'm super excited that I'm now offering cultural classes and music appreciation classes. Information can be found in the description below. Okay, so I actually just went to a show, in Philadelphia, and I am so inspired that I have to make a video on the spot. I did just do some planning, so there's going to be some nice structure, and we're talking about Alvin Ailey, which of course is one of the premier American modern dance companies, Part 1 is taking place right now, and I do have some controversial things to say. But before I go any further, all I can say is if Alvin Ailey is coming to your town, just buy the tickets, don't question it, I recommend Alvin Ailey American Dance with no reservation based on this performance, So if you want to see me talk about it, go ahead and listen for the next, who knows how long. But if you are in a crunch and you're like, I really want to see Ailey, I'm not sure, all I can say, it is worth it. It is worth it. And of course, Alvin Ailey, we think of Revelations, which is the signature piece. At this point, Revelations is American culture. There's no disputing it. It is more American than apple pie, maybe. It's that great. So we're going to end with Revelations, in part 5. And part 4, I will talk about things I learned at this, what I'll be incorporating in my operas. Part 3, we're going to talk about Alonzo King, who is an American choreographer based in San Francisco, who had a piece performed by Ailey. And part 2, we're going to talk about the first season program, which was called Century. And now I'd like to talk about something very, very controversial, And before I say it, let me just say that Alvin Ailey was touring, So they are based in New York City. I've actually taken dance class at their studios. Just a second. I've actually taken dance class at Alvin Ailey's studios in New York City. Great teachers there. So they're based in New York City. I don't think they have their own performance space, so they rent out space. And they were on tour in Philadelphia, and I live in Central Jersey, so I went to see them in Philadelphia. So the first problem was with the ticket prices, And I did that preface because I don't think Alvin Ailey, the company, had anything to do with that. It's not their own venue. They don't advertise the prices on the site. But I have to say, at this venue in Philadelphia, the ticket advertising was fundamentally dishonest and deceptive. Maybe dishonest is a little bit harsh, but definitely deceptive. Why? They said the lowest price is $29. I personally think that already is deceptive because $29 is really $30 minus $1. So in your head, when you hear 29, you're thinking in the 20s, but really you have to think in the 30 budget, right? But this is a classic advertising hack they do in America, and I don't like it. On my site, I don't do that. I just give a nice, flat fee. But whatever, that's not the big deal. The big deal is they advertise as $20, and after all the fees they tacked on, my ticket price was about $45. So let's just round up to 30. So it jumped up $15. That's what I'm really bad at math, but that's 30% tax, 40%. I don't know. So the fees they call, I forget how they called it. One was $2, another was $11. That's absolutely outrageous. Now, certainly, I don't know why there's a different whatever the word I'm trying to say is. I don't know why they differentiate between these, there's the price and then there's these other fees, but that is absolutely ridiculous. And it actually happened to me also in Jersey. I went to a student opera recently and they said it was $20. And once I got the checkout, I found out it was $30. So once you're like, you've chosen your seats and you're invested in it, then suddenly you have to pay higher. And then a lot of times people just feel pressured. Well, I already made it this far. But it definitely creates a lot of stress. And I don't like that. And I think it's just dishonest. Okay? As for a solution to that, I will talk about that in just 1 second. I want to mention another thing, and this is on the venue itself. It has nothing to do with Alonzo King lines. It has nothing to do with Alvin Ailey, though Alonzo King did have a piece on the program. Is the programs, okay? I don't know if you can see by this. The text is way too tiny. I know you think I'm nitpicking, but that's a huge problem. I couldn't read the text in the hall. First of all, the lighting's dim, but I couldn't read it. Now in my bright room, I'm able, I can, but still it hurts my eyes. And what happens when it hurts your eyes? Well, it means people don't read. So it means people don't know the names of the performers. They don't know the names of the musicians, right? Because it's dance, so they're going to be using different music. So people are less informed. Why bother having the program if you can't read them? To me, this is completely unacceptable. Okay, and again, it has nothing to do with Alvin Ailey. It's whoever was in charge of the programs did not put quality. Perhaps there were they didn't want to waste too much paper, okay, but certain things you just have to fork over the money for, okay? So perhaps in the future, just have less information in the programs. For example, in France, at Le Opéra National, okay, the National Opera, you get one small stingy piece of paper, but I think the texture is actually quite nice, if I recall, so that makes up for it. And they just have the most essential information. And then if you want more, you have to pay for it. Okay, so that is something they certainly could do in America, though I guess it's hard to make those changes because people think they're getting less. But you can't have a program where, that font was three, whatever, I don't know, that is absolutely too small. Okay, so that was another bémol, if you say in French, kind of like, that was not the biggest deal. The biggest deal was the ticket pricing. Okay. I also want to talk about the usher service. The usher service was really, really good, and I think this is important to talk about because unlike, the movies where you just show up and the prices tend to be cheaper, here, like, a lot of times you get seated by the usher, and a negative experience from someone on the administrative team can really sour your appreciation of the performance, okay? And I came with a friend, and he had comp tickets, so he had like really nice a seat downstairs, but he wanted to sit with me. So we asked the ushers, would it be possible to accommodate us? And this is something in France I would never do. In France, they would kick you out. So, Monsieur, on n'est pas chez vous. They would immediately get offended and like yell at you and say it's your fault for even thinking, like, it's just like, just a question, okay? And the usher I really liked the usher. Super sassy, a little bit sarcastic, a little bit rude, but funny, And he was happy to accommodate us. He talked to someone else, got approval, and said, yeah, we can make it work. And I think this is an attitude we need to have in the arts. Certainly, this cannot always happen, right? If there's no seats, it's not possible, it's not possible, okay? And if everyone asks for it, you can't do it. But I think if people are friendly enough and they are, cordial enough to say, I'm sorry to, is this possible? We understand, it's very nice to see an organization just has good customer service. Okay. Because as we're seeing right now, San Francisco Opera is, who knows if they'll be around, how much they're downsizing, with all these budget cuts and all that's going on in the economy. So we need to make sure that in terms of our customer service in the arts, we're on point. Okay. If you're having a bad day, then maybe you need to take some time off from work. Okay. And if you can't afford it, you can't afford it, but you don't make us suffer. Okay. So I thought the customer service at this particular venue was excellent. Okay. I do want to talk just a little bit more about the ticket pricing because I'm not over it. In the arts, we have to get away from this. I think you need to advertise the honest price, the actual price. So in this case, the actual price is $45. When I have my ticket out and I look at the ticket, on the ticket it says $29. That is a blatant lie. It is not $29. I don't care how you're able to legally spin it off. Like, well, I don't care. In order to make the purchase, I had to fork over $45, which is a lot of money. Okay. Now, I will say, based on the amazing work that I saw with Alvin Ailey, what they performed tonight, it was totally worth it. But I think you need to be upfront with your customers. Now, I understand that some customers are going to have sticker shock, like, oh my God, 45. But I think it's better to risk that than to kind of create stress, because I had a lot of stress once it jumped up $15. That caused a lot of stress. I felt I couldn't go. I was like, oh, I don't know. Can I really do it? It just created a lot of stress for me. And it creates a very negative feeling. And it also creates a feeling of disempowerment, because I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Okay? In part 2, we're going to talk about the first piece on the program. But this is a common problem with ballet as well, is that the music can be very powerful and super virtuosic, but the dancing is not on that. You can't keep up. But an uneducated audience will start clapping and going crazy,